Hi, my dear students. Good morning to each and everyone. And I am welcoming you to the corporate administration classes. Here in the previous class, we discussing about the so many concepts, so many topics. Once again, we are recalling the topics, the alteration of articles of association we discussing in the previous class. And after that, the next most important concept here we have to be discussing the differences between memorandum of association and articles of association. You are very well known. This two is very essential documents in the incorporation of organization or the company. In that situation, we are already known that the meaning of memorandum of association and the meaning of the articles of association, what are the contents incurred in the memorandum of association, as well as what are the contents incurred in the articles of association. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಪನಿಯ ಮನವಿ ಪತ್ರಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಲಿಖಿತ ಕಟ್ಟಳೆಗಳು, ಕಂಪನಿಯ ಮನವಿ ಪತ್ರ ಮತ್ತು ಲಿಖಿತ ಕಟ್ಟಳೆಗಳು ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಕಂಪನಿಯ ಒಂದು ನೋಂದಣಿಯ ಹಂತದಲ್ಲಿ, ಕಂಪನಿಯ ಒಂದು ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಅಥವಾ ನೋಂದಣಿಯ ಹಂತದಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಂಪನಿ ನೋಂದಣಿ ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಮುಖವಾಗಿ ಎರಡು ದಾಖಲೆಗಳ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇದ್ದೇ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಎರಡು ದಾಖಲೆಗಳು ಯಾವ್ಯಾವಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮನವಿ ಪತ್ರ ಮತ್ತು ಲಿಖಿತ ಕಟ್ಟಳೆಗಳು. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಪ್ರೀವಿಯಸ್ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದರ ಅರ್ಥ ಮತ್ತು ಇದು ಒಳಗೊಂಡಿರುವಂತಹ ಅಂಶಗಳು ಅಡಕಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ತಿಳಿದಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಅದು ಮನವಿ ಪತ್ರ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಲಿಖಿತ ಕಟ್ಟಳೆಗಳಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು. Whereas now we are essential to discuss about the differences between memorandum of association and articles of association. ಈ ಒಂದು ಸೆಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಮನವಿ ಪತ್ರಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಲಿಖಿತ ಕಟ್ಟಳೆಗಳ ನಡುವಿನ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸವನ್ನ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀವಿ. Here the first one is the memorandum of association. The first one is the memorandum of association, and the second one is the articles of association. We are dividing it into the two types: memorandum of association and the articles of association. And the first difference of the memorandum of association, it is the first difference of the memorandum of association. See, the first difference that tells us it is a compulsory document for all types of companies. It is a compulsory document is nothing but, so it is very essentially we required in the stage of the incorporation of the company under the Companies Act of 2013. So it is very essential mandatory document to all type of companies. What are the all types of companies is nothing but either it may be a small company, or it may be a medium company, or it may be a large scale of production company. All types of companies, either it may be we are already known that the types or kinds of the companies. What are those types or kinds of the companies? Domestic companies, statutory companies, statutory corporations, government corporations, private companies, public companies, either any type of company, or it may be a foreign company, any type of company, the mandatory document is memorandum of association. Whereas when we are come to the articles of association, in the articles of association, see, in the articles of association, it is not a compulsory document for all types of companies. See, this is what they have to be telling us. So here, the articles of association, it is not a mandatory document. So it is required, but it is not a mandatory document to all type of companies. Why? Because the rules and regulations, they are commonly followed in some organization, but some organization they strictly maintain. If it is a large scale of corporation, if it is a large scale of corporation or large scale of company, so then the articles of association is required. This is the first difference between the memorandum of association and articles of association. After this, so we should know in the Kannada medium, we should see in the Kannada medium ಮನವಿ ಪತ್ರ ಮತ್ತು ಲಿಖಿತ ಕಟ್ಟಳೆಗಳ ನಡುವಿನ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸಗಳು. ನೋಡಿ, ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮೀಡಿಯಂ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೋ ಕನ್ನಡ ಮೀಡಿಯಂ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಅದೇ ಇರಲ್ಲ, ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಮೊದಲನೇದೇನಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಕನ್ನಡ ಮೀಡಿಯಂ ಅವರು ನಿಮಗೆ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್ ಜೆರಾಕ್ಸ್ ನೀವೇ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಹತ್ರ ಬಂದು ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. ಇದು ಕಂಪನಿಯ ಮೂಲ ಸನ್ನದು ಅಥವಾ ಸಂವಿಧಾನವಾಗಿದೆ. ಸನ್ನದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ಮೂಲ ದಾಖಲೆ. ಕಂಪನಿಯ ಸನ್ನದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಮೂಲ ದಾಖಲೆ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಲಿಖಿತ ಕಟ್ಟಳೆಗಳು ಕಂಪನಿಯ ಒಳ ಆಡಳಿತಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಸಿದ ವಿಧಿವಿಧಾನಗಳು, ನೀತಿ ನಿಯಮಗಳು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ದಾಖಲೆ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕನ್ನಡ ಮೀಡಿಯಂ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಮೊದಲನೇ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಪ್ಪ ಅವನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮನವಿ ಪತ್ರ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಕಂಪನಿಯ ಮೂಲ ಸನ್ನದು ಅಥವಾ ಮೂಲ ಸಂವಿಧಾನ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಲಿಖಿತ ಕಟ್ಟಳೆಗಳು ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಸಂಬಂಧಿಸಿದಂತ ಕಂಪನಿಯ ಒಳ ಆಡಳಿತಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಸಿದ ವಿಧಿಗಳು ಅಥವಾ ಉಪ ನಿಯಮಗಳನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಲಿಖಿತ ಕಟ್ಟಳೆಗಳು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಇದು ಮೊದಲನೆಯ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ. ಅಂಡ್ ದ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಒನ್ ಹಿಯರ್, the second difference we are involving here, memorandum of association is the character of the company indicating the nature of the business. So this is the second difference between the memorandum of association and the articles of association. What they are telling us here, memorandum of association is nothing but it is a character, it is a future, it representing the nature of the business. Nature of the business means either it is a small industry or it is a large industry. Either it is it is closely related to the manufacturing industries, or it is closely related to the production industries, or it is closely related to the distribution industries. So what type of industry, what type of business you are starting here, the nature of the business is clearly tells in the memorandum of association. It clearly represent, there is no dilemma. So once we are recording in the memorandum of association, it is mandatory and it is very very essential required. You should particularly represent, you should particularly mention that what type of business you are going to starting. Either it is a manufacturing industry, or it is a extractive industry, or it is a production industries, or it is a distribution industries. So memorandum of association is nothing but it indicates, it represents the nature of business. Whereas in the articles of association, you should come in the articles of association. What happens here? Articles of association is a document containing bylaws. Bylaws is nothing but sub-laws. Bylaws is nothing but it is a sub rules and regulations. Sub laws or rules and regulations for internal management. Internal management is nothing but within the boundaries of our business organization. Within the boundaries or within the premises of our internal organization. So that is the administrative. That is the administrative. So articles of association is a document. So what it represent means, it represents the sub laws. Bylaws is nothing but sub laws or rules and regulations for the internal management is nothing but for the internal administrative purpose. So this is what we called as the second differences between the memorandum of association and articles of association. ಕನ್ನಡ ಮೀಡಿಯಂ ಅವ್ರು ನೋಡಿ, ಇದು ಎಲ್ಲಾ ವಿಧದ ಕಂಪನಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಕಡ್ಡಾಯವಾದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ದಾಖಲೆ. ನೋಡಿ, ಮನವಿ ಪತ್ರ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಎಲ್ಲಾ ವಿಧವಾದಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಕಂಪನಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಕಡ್ಡಾಯವಾದಂತಹ ದಾಖಲೆ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಲಿಖಿತ ಕಟ್ಟಳೆಗಳು ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಎಲ್ಲಾ ವಿಧದ ಕಂಪನಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಕಡ್ಡಾಯ ಏನು ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗೆ, ಷೇರುಗಳಿಂದ ನಿಯಮಿತವಾದಂತಹ ಸಾರ್ವಜನಿಕ ಕಂಪನಿ ಲಿಖಿತ ಕಟ್ಟಳೆಗಳನ್ನ ತಯಾರಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಏನೋ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ನೀತಿ ನಿಯಮ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಕೋಷ್ಟಕ ಎ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಾಲಮ್ ಎ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ಅಳವಡಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀತಿ ನಿಯಮಗಳನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಲಿಖಿತ ಕಟ್ಟಳೆಗಳನ್ನ ಕಡ್ಡಾಯವಾಗಿ ತಯಾರಿಸಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋಂಥ ಒಂದು ನೀತಿ ನಿಯಮ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ. ಎರಡನೇ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಏನಪ್ಪಾ ಕನ್ನಡ ಮೀಡಿಯಂ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮನವಿ ಪತ್ರ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಎಲ್ಲಾ ವಿಧದ ಕಂಪನಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಕಡ್ಡಾಯ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಲಿಖಿತ ಕಟ್ಟಳೆಗಳು ಕೆಲವು ಕಂಪನಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಕಡ್ಡಾಯ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಆದ್ರೆ ಕೆಲವು ಕಂಪನಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಕಡ್ಡಾಯ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. And the third difference between the memorandum of association and the articles of association, Third difference here they tells us memorandum of association states the objects and purpose for which company is established. See, this is the third difference between memorandum of association and articles of association. In the memorandum of association, they clearly prescribed that, they clearly states that the objectives of the company, either it may be a short term objectives, within short term objectives is nothing but within 1 year objectives. Short term objectives is nothing but within 1 year objectives, or long term objectives, or medium term objectives. Sir, what is meant by long term objectives? Long term objectives is nothing but about 1 year. Above 1 year means 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years objectives, what we called as a long term objective. In the memorandum of association, they clearly gives that what is the objectives. Either it may be short, or it may be a medium, or it may be a long term, or it may be a social objectives, or it may be a profit objectives, or it may be a organizational objectives, and the purpose. What is the basic purpose? Each and every company has the intention, or the purpose is the profit maximization. The intention or purpose is the profit maximization. So what the purpose and what is the objectives of the company is clearly mentioned in the memorandum of association. Whereas when we comes to the articles of association, the articles prescribed, it states that the regulations for the establishment of these objectives. See, memorandum of association tells that the objectives and the purpose of the company, whereas the articles of association, they tells about only rules and regulations of the organization. So what is the internal rules? What is the external rules? So this is enough in the articles of association. So this is the third difference between MOA and AOA. ನೋಡಿ, ಮೂರನೇ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಕನ್ನಡ ಮೀಡಿಯಂ ಅವರು ಗಮನಿಸಿ. ಕಂಪನಿ ಬಾಹ್ಯ ಜಗತ್ತಿನೊಂದಿಗೆ ಇರುವಂತಹ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಂಬಂಧವನ್ನ ಈ ಒಂದು ಮನವಿ ಪತ್ರ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ತಿಳಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಬಾಹ್ಯ ಜಗತ್ತು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಕಂಪನಿ ಹಲವಾರು ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳ ಜೊತೆ ಬಾಹ್ಯ ಸಂಬಂಧವನ್ನ ಹೊಂದಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಬಾಹ್ಯ ಸಂಬಂಧ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಕ್ರೆಡಿಟರ್ಸ್, ಸಾಲಿಗರು, ಸಾಲಗಾರರು, ಪೂರೈಕೆದಾರರು, ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳ ನಡುವೆ ಸಂಬಂಧ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ಮನವಿ ಪತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಮುಖವಾಗಿ ಸಾಲಗಾರರು ಯಾರಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಪೂರೈಕೆದಾರರು ಯಾರಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಎಲ್ಲಾ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳ ಜೊತೆ ಕಂಪನಿ ಯಾವ ಒಂದು ಸಂಬಂಧವನ್ನ ಹೊಂದಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಮಗೆ ಮನವಿ ಪತ್ರ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ತಿಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಲಿಖಿತ ಕಟ್ಟಳೆಗಳು ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಂಪನಿಯ ಆಂತರಿಕ ವ್ಯವಹಾರಗಳಿಗೆ ಇವು ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಕಂಪನಿಯ ಒಂದು ಆಂತರಿಕ ವ್ಯವಹಾರಗಳಿಗೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕಂಪನಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಡೆತಕ್ಕಂತ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಆಂತರಿಕ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಸಿದಂತೆ ನೀತಿ ನಿಯಮಗಳನ್ನು ಮಾತ್ರನೇ ಇದು ರೂಪಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಎಸ್, ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದಿಸ್ the next fourth difference here. What is the fourth difference here? In the fourth difference, it controls the external operations of the company. See what they are telling us in the memorandum of association, it controls the external operations is nothing but each and every memorandum of association, it is clearly mentioning that what are the external activities. Operations is nothing but the activities. We clearly mentioning that. So what is the external activities we are conducted? So that we are mentioned in the memorandum of association. So it controls the external activities of the company. Why? Because what are the activities we are clearly mentioned in the memorandum of association. Once we are clearly mentioned means we can't change it. Therefore, it controls the external operations. When we are coming to the articles of association, so here it controls the internal operations of the company. Internal operations is nothing but the work of the employees, activities of the employees, management activities. So why? Because they are clearly prescribed what is the rules and regulations for the internal administration. So therefore, the memorandum of association controls the external activities, whereas in the articles of association, it controls the internal activities. ಕನ್ನಡ ಮೀಡಿಯಂ ಅವ್ರು ನೋಡಿ, ಇದು ಕಂಪನಿಯ ಮೂಲ ಅಸ್ತಿತ್ವವನ್ನ ಕುರಿತು ವಿವರಿಸುತ್ತೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಮನವಿ ಪತ್ರವನ್ನ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಾಥಮಿಕ ದಾಖಲೆ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಲಿಖಿತ ಕಟ್ಟಳೆಗಳು ನೋಡಿ, ಮನವಿ ಪತ್ರಕ್ಕೆ ಅಧೀನ ದಾಖಲೆಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಲಿಖಿತ ಕಟ್ಟಳೆಗಳು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಕನ್ನಡ ಮೀಡಿಯಂ ಅವರು. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಾಥಮಿಕ ದಾಖಲೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಯಾವ್ದನ್ನ ಕರಿತೀವಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಮೊದಲನೇ ದಾಖಲೆ, ನಮಗೆ ಲಭ್ಯ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಕಂಪನಿಯ ದಾಖಲೆ ಯಾವುದು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮನವಿ ಪತ್ರ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಇವು ಲಿಖಿತ ಕಟ್ಟಳೆಗಳು ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಮನವಿ ಪತ್ರಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಪೂರಕ ದಾಖಲೆಗಳು, ಅಧೀನ ದಾಖಲೆಗಳು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಪೂರಕ ದಾಖಲೆಗಳಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಇವು ಎರಡನೆಯ ಒಂದು ದಾಖಲೆಗಳು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಾವು ಎರಡನೇ ದರ್ಜೆಯ ದಾಖಲೆಗಳು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಾವು ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದಿಸ್ ದ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಹಿಯರ್, the fifth difference we are discussing about that. If any alteration to memorandum of association is required, the consent of the company law board, is very, very essentially requires. The consent is nothing but acceptance of the company law board is very, very essential when we are alter the memorandum of association. Whereas in the articles of association, members themselves can make the any alteration of the rules and regulation. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮೆಮೊರಾಂಡಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದರ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಸೋಸಿಯೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. ಅಂಡ್ ದ ಸಿಕ್ಸ್ತ್ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್, it is the primary or fundamental or basic document of the company. See what we called as, so that is I am explaining in Kannada medium. So it is the primary or fundamental or basic document. So it is the first document of the incorporation, whereas articles of association, it is a secondary document. It is not a primary document. It is a secondary as well as supportive document to the memorandum of association. This is the another difference here. After this difference here, the seventh difference. See, in the seventh difference, the memorandum of association is governed and controlled by the Companies Act of 2013, whereas in the articles of association, it is governed by the memorandum of association as well as the Companies Act. See, memorandum of association is totally controlled by the Companies Act, whereas in the articles of association, it is controlled and it is a supportive to the memorandum of association as well as company it controls. And the eighth one here, eighth next difference here. So in the eighth next difference, the procedure to alter the memorandum of association, it is very, very complicated. It is very, very difficult. We can't change it in a easy manner. So it requires the central government permission as well as the we can call the board of directors meeting, shareholders meeting. In that meeting, we should pass the special resolutions. See, this is all looks like a difficult path. Therefore, in the memorandum of association, if we can change anything, it is so difficult. Whereas in the articles of association, the procedure and the steps what we have to be following the articles of association to change any rules and regulation, it is very simple when we are comparing to the memorandum of association. After this, the next ninth difference here. See, in the ninth difference, they clearly tells us a memorandum of association is deemed to be an unalterable document as per law. See, as per law, Companies Act of 2013, it is a deemed document. Deemed document is nothing but if any severe cases, if any major situations, if it is essentially needed to change, only we should take option to alter. Another, we can't take the option to change the memorandum of association. See, in the articles of association, articles of association can be altered at any time, any number of times. But memorandum of association, it cannot be altered simultaneously. Sir, we are altering December. What we can alter the next option? It will be next academic year. So keeps on we are changing. It is not possible in the memorandum of association. But the articles of association, when you needed to change the any rule and regulation, you should change it. It is very easy. After this, the next 10th difference here, 10th difference here, for alteration of memorandum of association, the permission from the tribunal. Tribunal is nothing but the management hierarchy, means the top level management. The top level management permission is essentially required to change the memorandum of association classes or contents. Whereas in the articles of association, there is no need to get the permission from the tribunal. After this, the 11th one here, 11th difference, 11th difference here, it governs the external relations of the company. It governs the external relation is nothing but it tells us what is the relationship between the creditors, investors, and the external parties. In the memorandum of association, we clearly mentioning the who are the external parties. Whereas in the articles of association, it only represents the internal relationship of the company, means the employees of the organization. In the 12th difference, that tells us, in the 12th difference, that tells us, it defines the limits and powers of the company. See, in the memorandum of association, we clearly mentioning that what is the disadvantages and what is the limits, how much the limit of the shareholders and what is the powers of the company, we clearly mentioned. Whereas in the articles of association, rights, duties, and rights and duties of directors and members and the employees we defined in the articles of association. These are all the differences between memorandum and articles of association. So in this session, we discussing about these important points. It is very, very essential and it is a 6 marks question. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಮನವಿ ಪತ್ರಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಲಿಖಿತ ಕಟ್ಟಳೆಗಳ ನಡುವಿನ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸಗಳನ್ನ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಹೋದ್ರೆ, ಮನವಿ ಪತ್ರ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನಾತೀತ ದಾಖಲೆ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನೂ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಲಿಖಿತ ಕಟ್ಟಳೆಗಳು ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಇವು ಪ್ರಶ್ನಾತೀತ ದಾಖಲೆಗಳಲ್ಲ. ಯಾವ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ನೀವು ಆ ನೀತಿ ನಿಯಮನ್ನ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಮತ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ನೋಡೋದಾದ್ರೆ, ಮನವಿ ಪತ್ರ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಕಂಪನಿಗಳ ಕಾನೂನಿನ ಒಂದು 2013 ಕಂಪನಿಗಳ ಕಾನೂನಿನ ಅಧೀನದಲ್ಲಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಆದ್ರೆ ಲಿಖಿತ ಕಟ್ಟಳೆಗಳು ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಮನವಿ ಪತ್ರದ ಅಧೀನದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದು ಕಂಪನಿಗಳ ಕಾಯ್ದೆಯ ಒಂದು ನಿಯಂತ್ರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಒಳಪಟ್ಟುವಂಥದ್ದಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಹೀಗಾಗಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ಮನವಿ ಪತ್ರ ಮತ್ತು ಲಿಖಿತ ಕಟ್ಟಳೆಗಳ ನಡುವಿನ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತೆ.